Potassium, nitrogen, phosphorus. What do these things even mean? Or what do they do for me and my plants? That's what we're going to be talking about in this video. Stay tuned. Hello, this is Dylan from the Trinidad Gardener, and I'm really glad you made it here for this one. In my first video, I talked about how tomato plants, especially in containers, needed a proper ratio of NPK, the major nutrients for your plants to grow big, strong and healthy. But what is NPK? And what are major plant nutrients? How do they affect my plant? And how can I get them to my plants? Easy, affordable, and organic. Let's do it. Your body needs three major nutrients to survive. Those nutrients being carbohydrates, proteins, and fats. In the exact same way, plants need three major nutrients, but their nutrients are N, P, K, nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium. The K stands for potassium. I know that may appear strange, but K is actually the symbol that you use on the periodic table for potassium. So let's just accept it. Just accept K means potassium. In any bag of fertilizer that you get, you're going to see those three numbers. Those three numbers are going to be NPK, and they're always in that order. Nitrogen first, phosphorus after, potassium last. Now these are the macronutrients. There are macronutrients, those big nutrients, and then there are micronutrients. In this video, we're going to just be talking about the macronutrients. So now we're going to break down each of these nutrients individually so we can understand what each one does for our plants and what we need to do to get them into our plants. Nitrogen is responsible for everything leafy and green on your plant. That green leafy growth that your plant sees, that's nitrogen causing that. So that first initial stage, you need a lot of nitrogen. Now, how do I get nitrogen into my plants? Some common sources would be compost, whether that's leaf compost, animal manures are really good for nitrogen. They're very strong. And also worm castings, really good for your plants and really good for nitrogen. Next, we're going to talk about phosphorus. Phosphorus is responsible for that root development and also for eventually putting on flowers and those blooms on your plants. Remember, the flowers themselves, for those of you new to gardening, the flower itself actually turns into a fruit. Some common sources of phosphorus would be, for instance, rock phosphate, which you can get in many different organic fertilizers, bat guano, bone meal. These are all really good sources of phosphorus. Now, potassium is really important, simply because potassium is for that overall healthy plant. A plant that's healthy is going to be able to resist disease, be able to resist pests, and that's something that we want for our plants. Now, some common sources of potassium, which is actually really amazing, is wood ash. Have you ever noticed sometimes you see a forest that's been burnt down in 1 year, there's a forest fire, and then after maybe the next year or the year after that, the forest looks even bigger and richer and more green? That's because of potassium. When all those leaves burn and they fall to the ground, that gives the soil a huge boost of potassium. So the plant is going to get overall health, and it's not just going to put on leaves, it's not just going to put on roots, it's going to do all of that. Another really good source of potassium is banana peel. So stop throwing away your banana skin when you eat it, okay? Take that skin, just let it sit in the sun for about 2 days, put it into the oven, 15 minutes, let it come out. It's going to be nice and crispy. You can grind that down straight into a powder and put that directly into your plants, either as a powder fertilizer, or you can mix it in a gallon of water and then water your plants with that, and the plants are going to really be happy, because that's for that overall growth, as I told you. And that way you're going to get a lot of potassium into your plants. And lastly, again, compost, leaf compost. You're going to get a lot of potassium from leaf compost. It's really going to be good for your plant. Compost in general is really high in nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium.
Alright, so let's see if we can apply some of the things that we learned about fertilizers. We can see there's 3% nitrogen, 4% phosphorus, and 4% potassium in this bag of garden tone fertilizer. Now, if you're thinking, where's the other 89%? That's because in an organic fertilizer, you have so much more than just the main nutrients. We'll talk about those in future videos. Now, here's a detailed breakdown. We have 3% nitrogen as shown there, our phosphorus 4%, and the potassium 4%. And you can see K2O. That's why we use a K for potassium. Whenever you see potash, it basically means potassium. That's where you get potassium. And where you see phosphate, that's where you get phosphorus. These words may look complex, but they're super simple. And the best thing is that we can see exactly where our minerals and our nutrients are coming from. Everything listed here, feather meal, poultry manure, these are all naturally occurring minerals and nutrients in nature.
And that's pretty much it. Super simple. Thanks so much for joining me in this video. If you have information that could be helpful in this topic, please leave your comments below. If you know someone who can benefit from this information, please share this video so that they too can grow more food for themselves and their family. This has been Dylan with the Trinidad Gardener, reminding you to get up and get growing. Take care.